What if I told you that your greatest power isn't your intelligence, your talent, or your hustle, but your ability to stay calm when everything around you is chaos? What if I told you that the one thing separating you from the life you want isn't a new opportunity, but your ability to control your emotional state when nothing goes your way? In the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to train your mind to stay calm no matter what happens. Yes, no matter how bad it gets, no matter who betrays you, no matter what falls apart. And when you master that, you stop reacting like everyone else. You stop bleeding energy in every direction. You become untouchable. The storm still comes, but you're the eye of it. So here's the question. Are you ready to stop letting emotions control your life and start learning how to control them instead? Life doesn't get easier. It gets louder, faster, more unpredictable. If you're waiting for the perfect circumstances to find peace, you're going to be waiting forever. Real peace is not found in the absence of pressure. It's found in your response to it. Most people collapse under pressure because they've never trained for it. They've trained to react, not to respond. They've trained to explode, to spiral. But what if you could rewire your brain to stay centered? Even in the worst moments, calm is a skill. It's not something you're born with. You train it like a muscle. And just like a muscle, it grows every time you resist the urge to lose control. Every time someone tries to trigger you and you don't respond, you get stronger. Every time the situation pushes you to panic and you stay grounded, your mind evolves. That's what high performers do. That's what leaders do. They stay calm under pressure, and that calm becomes their power. The greatest lie you've been told is that calm is a personality trait, something some people just have and others don't. That's not true. Calm is a discipline. It's a learned skill forged in discomfort and refined through repetition. If you think staying calm means being naturally quiet or passive, you've misunderstood the assignment. Staying calm is a powerful act of mental resistance. It's your ability to hold steady when everything in your environment is pushing you to collapse, explode, or run. And like any skill, it requires training. Real calm isn't automatic, it's earned. We live in a world addicted to reaction. Someone says something you don't like, snap, something goes wrong. Panic, your phone buzzes with bad news, spiral. Most people live at the mercy of their emotional impulses, confusing constant activity with progress and chaos with urgency. But here's the true thing. The person who can stay calm in crisis holds the advantage over the one who reacts every time their emotions are triggered, because the calm mind can see clearly. The calm mind can choose wisely. And when you can choose your response, you own your outcome. Training calm starts with awareness. You have to catch the moment your heart races, your jaw tightens, your brain starts firing warning signals. That's your chance. That's your signal that you're on the edge of growth. When you pause, not freeze, but pause, you give your logical brain a window to step in before your emotional brain hijacks everything. In that space, you rewire your nervous system. You build a new default. And over time, what used to make you spiral now barely shakes you. That's not because the world got easier. It's because you trained harder. Think of calm like a muscle. You don't grow it by reading about it. You grow it by resisting the urge to yell, to react, to retaliate. You grow it by choosing the high road when it would be so easy to descend into drama. And that choice compounds. Every time you stay grounded, even a little, you build mental endurance. And eventually you walk into chaos and people feel it, your steadiness, your certainty, your quiet power. Because calm isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's about knowing that even if it's not, you will be. And that makes you unshakable. The moment you understand that pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. You stop fearing it. Everyone wants to feel strong, centered, confident, but that version of you doesn't appear when things are calm. It shows up in the heat, in the chaos, in the silence between the trigger and your reaction. That's where your character is tested. And more importantly, that's where it's built. That pressure isn't the enemy. The problem is how you've been trained to react to it. We're conditioned to flinch at discomfort, to run from confrontation, to panic when something doesn't go our way. But pressure is information. It tells you what still controls you. It shows you the areas of your life where your nervous system still responds from fear, not power. When you get frustrated, angry, overwhelmed, it's not the Asian doing that to you. It's what the situation touches inside you. And until you face those internal reflexes, the external world will always have control over your emotions. When you stay calm under pressure, you become dangerous in the best way possible because people don't know how to manipulate a steady mind. The moment they can't provoke a reaction, they lose control. Environments change, conversations shift. You move from survival mode to strategy mode. That's the power of calm. It gives you time. It gives you space. It gives you access to a higher level of thinking that impulsive minds never reach. You don't train for calm by avoiding stressful moments. You train in them. When someone pushes your buttons and you pause instead of react, that's training. When life throws a curveball and you respond with clarity instead of chaos, that's progress. And over time, your mind begins to associate calm with safety. Your baseline shifts, and now pressure no longer feels like a threat. It feels like a test you've already prepared for. This is where mastery begins, not when everything is under control, but when you are. The more pressure you learn to carry without breaking, the more peace you create within yourself. And when peace lives inside you, no outside force can take it away. The storm doesn't disappear. It just stops owning you. That's the difference between someone who merely survives life and someone who commands it. Your power begins the moment you learn to create space between stimulus and response. That tiny gap, just a few seconds, is where your entire life can change. Most people live in a loop. Something happens, they react. No pause, no filter, no thought, just raw emotion pouring out. And then they wonder why things keep spiraling. But when you train yourself to pause before reacting, you interrupt that cycle. You stop being a slave to your environment and you start becoming the architect of your responses. The truth is, your brain is wired for survival, not success, a threat, real or imagined. It hijacks your thinking. That's why you say things you regret, lash out, shut down, or fall apart. You're not weak, untrained. But the moment you notice that surge, the heat in your chest, the tightness in your throat, the speed of your breath, you've already started gaining control, because awareness is the first sign of transformation. That space between what happens and how you respond is where your true identity lives. You don't grow by avoiding problems. You grow by responding to them with a new mindset. That's how you reprogram your nervous system, not with affirmations, not with wishful thinking, but with real-time self-control. Every time you resist the urge to explode, argue, panic, or withdraw, you're telling your brain, and we do things differently now. That repetition creates new neural pathways, and those pathways become your new default. This is how emotional intelligence is built, not in theory, but in those small decisions no one sees. And the people who master this become incredibly powerful. They think clearly in heated situations. They respond with precision. They lead without forcing. Why? Because they are no longer reacting from pain. They're responding from presence. And presence changes everything. It gives you the ability to see what others miss and to hear what's not being said and to act without being emotionally hijacked. If you want to own your life, start by owning that space. Practice the pause. That moment of stillness isn't weakness. It's the strongest move you'll ever make, because in a world addicted to noise and urgency, calm clarity is a superpower. And it all starts with that one choice: don't react, respond. Clarity doesn't come from control. It comes from calm. When your emotions settle, your thinking sharpens. That's the paradox most people never understand. They chase clarity by trying to fix everything around them, but true clarity is internal. It begins when your mind is no longer clouded by fear, urgency, or ego. When you stop reacting to every trigger, your brain finally has room to process what's real and what's just noise. In that stillness, your most intelligent decisions are born. This is why emotional regulation isn't just a soft skill, it's the foundation of performance. When your mind is scattered, your energy is divided. And when your energy is divided, everything becomes harder than it needs to be. You start solving the wrong problems, chasing distractions, and making decisions from a place of survival rather than strategy. But when you train yourself to stay calm, something shifts. Your energy stops leaking into pointless reactions and starts focusing on what actually matters. The science behind this is simple but powerful. When your nervous system is in a calm state, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, planning, and decision-making, stays active. When you're in fight or flight mode, that part shuts down. So in panic, you're literally less intelligent. But when you stay grounded, you keep your full cognitive resources online. That's why calm people appear so wise. It's not because they know more. It's because their mind is clear enough to access what they know. You'll notice this in every area of your life. In conflict, calm helps you hear what's not being said. In negotiation, calm makes you patient and strategic. In crisis, calm allows you to act instead of freeze. And in leadership, a calm makes others trust you because they can feel that you're not reacting, you're responding with intent. That's rare. And rare becomes powerful. This is the hidden true thing. The people who appear calm are often the ones who've trained the hardest. They've faced themselves. They've resisted the urge to control the world and instead learned to control their own chemistry. And once you can control your emotional chemistry, the outside world stops having power over your clarity. You start seeing things as they are, not as your emotions distort them. And that alone will put you 10 steps ahead of anyone who hasn't done the inner work. The calmest person in the room is the most powerful, not because they speak the loudest, but because they speak the least and mean every word. That kind of presence isn't born from arrogance or dominance. It comes from deep inner control. When you master your emotions, you no longer need to prove yourself. You don't chase approval, you don't argue for attention, and you don't react just to make a point. You simply stand in your truth and people feel it. That's the weight of real power. Silent, composed, unshakable. In a world obsessed with noise and validation, silence becomes magnetic. Most people are loud because they're trying to drown out their own insecurity. They want to be heard because they don't feel seen. But someone who has done the internal work doesn't need to announce it. Their energy speaks louder than their voice ever could. You walk into a room with that kind of control and people shift. Not because you're intimidating, but because you carry something they haven't built yet. Emotional gravity. This doesn't mean suppressing your voice or pretending you're unaffected. It means knowing when your words serve a purpose and when they're just reactions. Silence is strategic. It gives you leverage. It gives you time to assess. And more importantly, it protects your peace because not every situation deserves your energy. Not every argument is worth engaging. Not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes the most intelligent move you can make is to say nothing and stay centered. Silence also trains the mind in ways chaos never can. When you choose stillness over reaction, your nervous system starts to trust you. It learns that you're not a threat to yourself. And in that state, you make better choices, attract better situations, and command better outcomes. This is how calm stops being a mood and becomes an identity. You no longer show up to impress, you show up to influence. You don't react to noise, you move with intention. And the beautiful irony is, once you stop chasing external power, internal power finds you. You become the calm in the storm, the anchor in uncertainty, the one people look to when everything else starts falling apart. And not because you said more, but because you needed to say less. Here's the truth. Most people aren't ready to herd. The world will keep spinning. Storms will keep coming and chaos won't slow down just because you need a break. But you don't need the world to calm down. You need to train yourself to rise above it. That's the ultimate power. When you master your mind, you master your life. And it's not about becoming cold or disconnected. It's becoming deliberate. It's about responding with intelligence instead of emotion. It's about choosing peace over pride, clarity over chaos, and growth over the need to always be right. In a society addicted to instant reactions, your ability to stay calm becomes your rebellion. And not just a rebellion, but a revolution in your own life. Because once you tap into that stillness, you'll realize it's not weakness. It's your greatest source of strength. You'll stop letting people pull you into their noise. You'll stop reacting to things that don't align with your values. You'll start making choices that reflect your future, not your fears. And the more you live in that state, the more magnetic, powerful, and clear you become. This isn't about pretending bad things don't happen. It's about refusing to let those things define your identity. You have more control than you think. The chase isn't personal, but your response always is. That's where your freedom begins. So ask yourself, are you living at the mercy of your triggers? Or are you training your mind to lead you forward? Don't just listen to this and move on. Use it. Practice the pause, claim your calm. And if you're serious about being someone who doesn't flinch under pressure, then this is your call. Train daily, reflect deeply, speak less, observe more, because you realize how powerful you are. When you stay grounded, you'll never let the noise shake you again. If this message hits something and you share it, rewatch it, let it become a mirror, because this isn't a performance. It's a process. And you're calm. That's the beginning of everything.